we are live on Box Office Quarterbacks. Me and Ahmed back at it again. We are getting back into the swing of things, Ahmed, and really starting to podcast more and talk about all the Marvel and nerd shit that we know and love. This week we are talking about Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2, Episode 1, premiered as we're recording this last night on Disney Plus. First of all, how you doing, my friend?
I'm great. I'm over here looking at this uniform, this costume he's got, and I'm already just kind of like hooked because is this the first time we're seeing this? I know it's been a while, so maybe I'm new to all of this because everything is just new though. It's like the new costume. We're not having to wait for him to go into the costume because in this recap and in the last like Netflix series, he was always wearing the blindfold. So I'm glad that we don't have to wait another 6-7 episodes where we see this. But yeah, we're gonna jump into this. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, the thing I like best about this season so far is it really does hit the ground running. I mean, season 1 of Born Again, obviously started with the death of Foggy Nelson. And then that kind of, I think it really put a damper throughout like the first 5 episodes of that show because Daredevil, Matt Murdock gives up being Daredevil and then he has to work his way back up into putting on the suit. And I think we waited too long. Here, he is taking down Wilson Fisk's gun running ship where he's shipping in illegal weapons. You have a huge set piece of this giant like tanker sinking into the Hudson Bay. I really loved how this show started. I really like a lot of the new characters here. Matthew Lillard in particular.
Excuse me, it's Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
It is Shaggy.
And the guy from Scream.
Yes, he is used much better here than he was in Scream 7. I will tell you that. But yeah, so much to talk about, Ahmed. What were your initial thoughts? Because you just got done watching this.
Yeah, shout out to my buddy Jason for letting me watch it at his place. And immediately I was taken aback by the new costume. This is not something that we've seen. It's a different color. I want to say that the new horn or the new costume is because he destroyed it in the last season. And I also noticed they're taking a lot more risks with this episode, with this season maybe, where they're saying the fuck word a lot more. I don't know if that's because of Ryan Reynolds and, Deadpool and maybe Guardians of the Galaxy 3, where they're just taking a lot more liberties with language. Either way, I'm fucking here for it. But I just, because Daredevil was supposed to be this gritty show, but you could still see that they were holding back. And they're still holding back. There's a lot of scenes where I'm like, no, they could have gone further with this because I'm a big mafia movie guy. My favorite movie is Casino, No Country for Old Men. And so I'm used to this kind of like, this is how that world works. And so, but at the same time, it's Disney, it's a comic story, there's limits, but it's like, go in or go all out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did notice that like they are dropping F-bombs like left and right now. It's like, all right, Disney is really letting them go this season. And that's even different from the Netflix version where I think they were allowed to say one fuck per season or something like that. And now we are throwing that out very, very very free and loose, and I really love that.
Yeah, because it's not like it has any fucking effect on us.
Yeah, exactly. We fucking love when shows can just be what they want them to be. But
what the fuck we want them to be.
Yeah. I think the strongest thing about this season is having Karen Page back in this show. I would say Deborah Ann Wall was missed like all of last season because you broke up like the trio and what people love so much about the first iteration of this show.
See, maybe I'm in the minority here because I watched it very like I got into Daredevil very late, and I didn't start getting into season one until whenever it came out. And so when I binge, sorry, my cat Raja is being like needy right now, but when I'm trying to pick him up, he's being shy. Anyway, my point is I kind of saw that they were introducing her as like the love interest, but my whole thing was I thought she was into Foggy, and of course Foggy got murked. So it's like, well, there goes that. But like, I don't know. Sometimes these like extra characters, it just seems forced on us. So maybe I'm in the minority where I'm like, well, of course she was going to fall in love with him. Of course they were going to have an affair or some sort of entanglement.
Yeah, Matt Murdock in the comics is very much a man whore. And that is putting it nicely. Like he is a lot of people make the joke where they're like, is Matt Murdock really blind? And even my wife said that. It was like, how does he know that all of these girls are attractive? Yeah, so that's the funny thing with that. But Karen Page is kind of like the MJ to Matt Murdock, and I do like seeing her back. I do think that they did improve on the love interest of last season, which was Dr. Heather Glenn. She is traumatized by Muse and like the memory of that whole sequence with the serial killer of last season, and I really think that adds some new layers to that character.
Yeah, because that was her old jam, right? She used to study and write about serial killers and psychopaths.
Yeah. So I think like it makes her character like 100 times more interesting because season one, it's like, oh, you're Wilson Fisk's therapist or marriage counselor, whatever it was. And I mean, that's interesting, but having this added layer, and there's a lot of people online that feel like she's going to take up the mantle of Muse, like become a serial killer herself, which would be a crazy twist.
Yeah, but not as crazy as you would think, because isn't that kind of the whole plot of Dexter?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they do. Yeah, she is. That would be kind of repeating that.
I'm just saying
Yeah,
it's because it's like we've already kind of seen these stories before. So where's the originality? And the ending is where I kind of was like, oh shit. That was where like I really had the surprise, because there's nothing really that, and it's not for lack of trying. Unfortunately, because these stories have been going on for like almost 20 years now, it's really hard to make the same emotion twice. Um, so when you had that ending, which when we get into spoiler territory, let me know. But
oh yeah, let's get into it. Let's go all in on spoilers. I
so
say,
if you haven't watched Daredevil yet, this is the time where you turn off and then you come back to us. Give
yeah,
you a second. Great, that's enough time. Um, so the fact that they have the arch villain Bullseye, who is very much a scary individual, but I feel like they've underused him. For as much as hype they've given us, they've really underused him. And so whenever he's there in such a cliffhanger ending where Matt Murdock's face is shown, and then the people that have seen his face are murked in and of themselves,
yeah,
it's like, oh, so who's on whose side here? There's you really clicked in, and that as a viewer is what I want. I don't want to watch something where I have to do homework for it. You know what I mean?
yeah. I do. I do really like that ending because, and I heard another podcast talking about this where they're when Matt Murdock they're starting to pull his mask off. They're like, is this going to be like a Batman thing where they try to remove his mask and there's like booby traps in it and it like electrocutes you if you try to remove his mask, but it fully comes off. And I'm like, how the hell is he going to get out of this one? And I did not see Bullseye taking out all those cops. So that was really like kind of very unexpected. And I really liked how they ended the episode. And it really makes you build anticipation for episode two I want to see a lot more Bullseye though, Ahmed, just like you said, because I do think he is a little bit underutilized, especially last season because he does kill Foggy, but then he goes away for about 6 or 7 episodes,
Well, and the
and that
whole
that
reason
was the
why
problem with season one. And it's very well reported now that they rewrote the whole season halfway through. They reshot a lot of stuff because it wasn't working, so it was very much a Frankenstein show. This season seems like, and from the reviews I've read, is going to be much more concise with its storytelling, with a much more clearer path forward.
I wish I could. I wish I read a little more about why they did the rewrites, because that is kind of like the theme I've noticed in a lot of shows that had a lot of potential. Um, I'm obsessed with The Weeknd, and his show that was on HBO Max, The Idol, had a lot of rewrites. And when you watch it, you're like, ugh. And of course, it didn't get like started over for a season two. And it's like, I don't think it's because they didn't care. I think it was just too many cooks in the kitchen, and that can sort of be the reason why we don't have Blade. It's like, just let Ryan Coogler write it. Just let Ryan Coogler fucking direct it. It's not that hard. But here we are now. We're never going to see Mahershala on screen with the sunglasses.
Yeah, that really sucks because I feel like whoever tries to write that movie now, if it ever happens, is going to be compared to Sinners, regardless of. And we talk about Sinners every episode, but it is that good of a movie. Yeah, Marvel kind of blew their chance there. They had the perfect person already working for them, and they didn't go for that. But yeah, like as far as Daredevil goes, I do know that like the rewrites were mostly due to Daredevil not showing up in costume until like episode 5 or 6. And I know that they were trying to make it like serialized TV, like Law and Order, SVU, or something. So they wanted it to be a courtroom drama, which, that's fine. Matt Murdock is a lawyer. I get what the idea was, but this is a superhero show at the end of it. You need to have a superhero in your superhero show.
Not only that, but didn't we already get that from the Netflix series?
We did.
Like, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna channel Queen Ramonda from Wakanda Forever. Again, shout out Ryan Coogler. He can never get enough shout outs. Um, have we not given everything? Have I not spent hours and days of my free time when I could be watching, I don't know, Citizen Kane for the umpteenth time? Why am I watching this show on Netflix only to find out that I didn't need to watch the show on Netflix to appreciate Daredevil season one? If I'm gonna get a repeat, am I gonna see Daredevil in the fucking blindfold where he's doing this shit? No, I want to see him in the costume. Why? Because I got a teaser of him in She-Hulk, which was a courtroom drama. I don't need another fucking courtroom drama. I get it. He's an attorney. Show me the action.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne is billionaire. We don't really spend the whole movie watching him do billionaire shit. So
which is
whatever that is.
Yeah, you can drop nuclear waste in that ocean. I don't give a fuck. Let Batman deal with that. I don't envy him.
That is billionaire shit. But speaking of billionaires and real life parallels, there's a lot of real life parallels in this show, and I like that they don't shy away from it. Just based on the political climate that we are going in, and Wilson Fisk is obviously an analog to somebody we know, and I like how very on the nose it is.
Yeah, it's maybe a little too on the nose. One of my friends joked with me saying, "I wonder if that person that we are hypothetically speaking about, allegedly, uh, may be watching the show and getting ideas from, because there's certainly a cartoon villainy pathos to a lot of what we're seeing in our reality. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then go to hell.
Yeah.
But you probably shouldn't be watching this anyway because we're not for you. But but yeah, it's a lot of like it's almost unreal because you try to go to movies, you try to go to comics to escape reality, but at the same time, people like Stan Lee made these comics because he wanted them to be relatable. And I think at the end of the day, it's to show that there is good that happens at the end of the day. The villain, as suave and as untouchable as they may seem, they will get their comeuppance someday. It may not be in the time frame that you want it to be, but it's possible still.
Yeah. And when it comes to Mayor Fisk, I do have to say that I did like Kingpin a little bit better when he wasn't running the city. I liked it better when he was kind of like a shadowy force behind everything.
You know
He
what it
does
sounds
seem,
like?
yeah, he does seem a little handcuffed now.
You know what it is, Jeff?
What's
It's
that?
This is what he was like during campaign time. Now that he's been elected, you're not satisfied anymore. Sound familiar?
Oh, yes. Speaking of real world parallels,
Like,
uh,
man, this fucking guy said he would do this,
yeah,
that weed would be legal. I don't know.
yeah, exactly. But we do have like some other characters here. We have BB, which has been Urich's niece, and then we have Michael Gandolfini, the who's now the deputy mayor. I don't know his character's name, but I don't really care about those characters.
Which kind of bothers me in the sense that like that's James Gandolfini's son, James Gandolfini from The Sopranos. Michael Gandolfini, I think if his father were to see him now, he'd be proud of him. Even though he is being underutilized, I would hope that this, like the kid from the Penguin, uh,
Yeah. Oh,
you know what I'm
Victor. Yeah.
yeah, I would hope that this would open the door for them for future opportunities.
I feel like he is gonna, and we could go back to this at the end of the season. I feel like he is going to suffer the same fate as Victor did in the Penguin. I feel like the Kingpin is either going to pin all his crimes on this kid or he is going to get taken out.
Which would make me feel satisfied as a viewer because Kingpin has always kind of been like a likable villain, and that's the kind of I know I'm using the word incorrectly, caveat. Um that's the flaw of Marvel movies. I tried my hardest not to say kryptonite. One of the
Yeah.
flaws of Marvel storytelling is their villains are often likable, and it's not even like it's Marvel, it's just a lot of movies that have come out, the villains are tend to be likable. You're not supposed to like them, but the Penguin did a really good job of reminding you, no, 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 just because he's the main character doesn't mean you're supposed to like him. He's a murderer, he's a psychopath, and that's what we need from Kingpin. And so while he might seem handcuffed, to quote you earlier, maybe there will be a moment in time where we're like, that's why he's scary. Spider-Man, be careful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. Well, yeah. I want him to get back to that danger, and I think he'll probably get there by the end of this season. Any predictions for the rest of the way? We know like Jessica Jones is showing up later in this season. There's rumors of Luke Cage coming back. There's a lot of avenues that we can explore.
I've been trying to avoid spoilers as much as I can because they ruined Wakanda Forever for me. Um, but if Luke Cage is going to be there, I really like Luke Cage, and he is. Oh my God, we've talked about underutilized characters. Luke Cage has to be the pinnacle of underutilized characters. Mike Coulter, I mean, that guy was robbed. Even Marshall Ali, that
Oh, yeah.
show was
Yeah.
incredible until they killed off Marshall Ali's character.
Yeah.
After that, I didn't bother watching the rest of the show.
I feel bad for Mahershala. Like Marvel's kind of done him dirty a few times now. Because what was his name in that show? It was Cottonmouth, I think,
Cottonmouth, yeah,
right?
yeah.
He was a great character
Great
until like the
villain,
last.
great storytelling, and we're going back to villains that are likable. If only they could have, you know, done that with like another anti-hero. But with Fisk, who is a villain, I really hope that in the end we get that moment of like he was a monster all the time. And I hope that for the diehard fans that like maybe feel a type of way for liking him, I hope they finally get the oh God. Yeah. And then just feel that buyer's remorse, you know?
Yeah. So I do agree with you there. I do think like my prediction, and this was kind of in the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, is you see Spider-Man getting the key to the city from uh Wilson Fisk's like deputy
Oh
mayor
yeah.
lady, which was a stupid thing to put in that trailer. So I kind of know how the rest of this season is gonna go. I feel like Sheila is gonna end up being the mayor of New York City. Wilson Fisk is probably either going to be put in jail again or he is going to escape somewhere far, far away.
He's done it
Um,
before.
he's done it before. The vigilantes are going to retake over New York City just in time for Spider Man to come out of whatever depression hole he is in and save the day once again.
Existential crisis, turning 30, whatever the fuck. Yeah.
He's always depressed, but
But in the meantime, what rating would you give this?
I would say on our box office QB scale, which I am going to remember to put into the show next time, um, I'm going to give it like an all-star. It really did keep my attention the entire time. It's probably a low all-star. It's by far not like the best Daredevil episode. It is one of the best Daredevil episodes of the new iteration of the show, though. I will say that.
That's fair. I agree with that. I have no argument with anything you said. I give it an all-star, which is a 4 out of 5, because it has a lot of potential, but at the same time, it's too soon to say what else could happen. Because we've been burned before, Jeff, with shows like Secret Wars, where they start out really well and then only to break our hearts in the end.
Yeah. So we'll see if they stick the landing. We'll be keeping a close eye on these episodes, but I know we are going to try to talk about close eye, close eye. But we are going to try to talk about Project Hail Mary here pretty soon, a movie that Ahmed saw and is very blown away by. So
Yes, and one of my friends, Butterfly, she wants to talk about Michael Jackson, the biopic that's coming out. Um, and so when all this, there's so many new movies coming out, so many new shows. They're gonna make Wonder Man season 2, but let's get through Daredevil season 2 and see if they don't break our hearts with this one like they did on Secret Wars.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, we will be watching Marvel. So stick the landing. But yeah, this has been another edition of Box Office Quarterbacks. I'm Jeff. That's Ahmed. We will see you guys very, very soon for Project Hail Mary, probably. See ya.